welcome back. Or if this is your first time, welcome to This Week in White Supremacy. And if this is your first time, we really, really want you to discuss this podcast the minute you sit down at your Thanksgiving dinner. The very minute. You can just play it. Just push replay.
What if, but hold on. What if they're having dishes, traditional black dishes with raisins in there?
Why you always, of course you would bring that up. Of course.
Yeah.
That's
even more reason
holidays for everyone.
to throw to mess up Thanksgiving as a whole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, please ruin your Thanksgiving with this podcast and then tape it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, people for that every year, but no one does it.
Send it to us.
We need footage of you ruining your family holiday.
I would love that. Particularly if you're not going to do it now.
Yeah.
When will you do it?
You won't ever. If not, yeah.
I'm Jasiri X. I'm co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media. And to my immediate right,
Jesus Christ, we are blessed today because
it's a miracle.
That could be a new drop.
Jesus Christ, we are blessed. I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's kind of hot.
It's a miracle.
Wow, yes.
God has blessed us. God.
I mean, I don't see any. I don't see any issues. That was good. That was great. You know, it's your girl, aka Big Blessing, Miracle.
Just off vacation, about to go on another one.
Why are you? Oh my!
Fresh off the plane, Konnichiwa, bitches.
About to hop on another plane.
I'm actually driving.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever you do, we hope you have the greatest of all times.
Just always put my business
out
there.
My bad. And my brother.
I am a private figure.
It's your boy Trouble NLS. Never like supremacy. Niggas love Sag season.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
What?
Yes, indeed.
The Sagittarius have been released to cause havoc upon the world.
Sagittarianism.
Yes.
Speaking of, that was not okay.
I feel.
Wow. It's back.
The fucking nerve.
It's back.
Speaking of,
it is back.
I'm glad it's just not me that gets victimized by it.
We are here.
Jesus.
Needs to get here.
Could you give us some more taps?
Got you.
Listen.
Yes, please give us some taps.
Yes.
I'm
trying, Miracle. I'm gonna
White supremacy ASMR over here.
Remember, this is behavior. This is not about skin tone.
I'm gonna hit a beach in December, Miracle. I'm hoping to. But I probably will still be on not okay.
It's okay.
I'll probably not get off of not okay.
He said I will go from Logic.
Yes. He said from Logic. Well, there is one person more not okay than me. That's brother.
We are going to make a new one, though. We are going to make a new one and be more color inclusive.
Oh, I thought I was going to say except I was in here.
First of all, I know. Listen, I know the hate is real, but it's okay. It's just because y'all miss my love. It's all right.
We do.
It's okay. But yes, go ahead,
sir.
I'm a creep.
Oh wow, that's it.
I'm a weirdo.
That's it.
What the hell are you doing here?
I don't belong here, man.
Oh, okay.
I wish I was special.
Wow. All right.
You know?
Are you channeling
Niggas look special.
Your the white side of you? Is
Listen,
that
that's such a fucking great song.
It
I was
really
watching the
is.
Patrice O'Neal interview.
Oh yes.
He was like something about the that just hits white people in the soul. He said the moment white people hear Radiohead creep, 7 people pull over and crash.
I was like, are we doing? Did something happen?
You thought who said that?
I know what's going on. I was like, are we doing confessions?
Oh wow.
What just happened? Like,
You about to go in lawyer mode, Miracle? You
no.
I don't think you could consider me a creep. A crash out, maybe. Probably a crash out. Creep, not so much.
Shout out to Kendrick.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Shout out to
I've definitely
Kendrick came back because oh wow, was that not okay, Miracle?
definitely not a creep, but I'm gonna crash out.
They said
trying
because
to be nice.
they said because Kamala lost and Mike Tyson lost, and Kendrick had to come save us.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Kendrick Lamar.
Mustard!
Yes.
I haven't heard the song, but I've just seen the meme enough times to laugh at this point.
It's very, very much.
When you listen to the song, it actually makes you feel like very happy.
It does.
Definitely.
He's acting bad, but somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
He's rapping, and then it's like a little break, and then he just yells it, and you're just like,
Well, I mean, we have somebody who kind of crashed out on some people that we're going to play a clip from today.
Oh, I mean, well, again, so, right now we're in week 2 of the soon-to-be Donald Trump, presidency that we'll see what happens. We're still in like wait mode, like what's going to happen. Or
Can a crash out be positive?
I think so.
I think so too. Yeah.
You gotta break something down to build
So is
it
this
back up.
our?
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas.
I would say that's Miracle's mantra. She's all about breaking niggas down.
But building up. Don't forget the building up part.
Yes.
So is this our certified crash out episode?
Maybe. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely should be the mascot for this shit. That's all we know.
Better days are ahead. Better days are ahead.
That's what Sister said. Good days, man.
So soon to be Vice President JD Vance, and if that's also crazy to say,
bro.
Right?
We cannot be living in the real
No
world.
couch in the White House is safe.
All right, we'll see everybody in 2025. That was fucking
No couch is safe. JD Vance.
First they shit on the wall, now they nothing in the couches.
Man.
Jesus Christ.
How much can America take?
But he gonna show you how much that couch could take.
Wow, this is getting dark.
So our
Dark MAGA.
our soon-to-be Vice President JD Vance introduced a bill called the Dismantle DEI Act.
Crazy.
And basically, he's saying the DEI, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, again, like trying to right a historic wrong, right? For so many years, just having a black name. I mean, the reality of like, if your name on the paperwork is a black name.
Yeah. All of us are fucked.
On the application, yeah, all of us are. All of us are
terribly
all of us are
fucked.
screwed. That like a white person who has a felony record has a better opportunity to get a job than a black person with a college degree. This is a study that was proven, right? But you know they don't obviously clearly like ain't no.
They not like us?
Wasn't no DI on that cabinet. You know what I'm saying? They showed you straight up what it is, right? So it says, according to JD Vance, the DEI agenda is a destructive ideology that breeds hatred and racial division. It's wild. It's like,
Wow.
And again, like not hiring black people doesn't breed hatred.
This nigga just like.
Well, I mean, the way he
swerved over white supremacy and was like, yeah, DEI.
I mean, maybe the way he looks at it, black people don't have any jobs. They can't say it's not discrimination. It's like, you niggas just ain't working. We're not discriminating, you're just not working.
And it's not like DI means like half the jobs go to black people.
No.
It'd be like one or two black people. And just those one or two makes you so angry that you gotta pass a law to prevent it.
I say this shit all the time. Like when white people get upset that they have to press 1 for English, it's like, nigga, I didn't ask you to press 9. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you're pressing the first letter or first number for English, not 9.
Yes. So
Still letters.
it's
Too much.
still
Too
too
much,
much, right?
That
so
one extra button.
Yeah,
No.
that's their breaking point.
So it says this proposed legislation seeks to eliminate all federal DI programs and funding for federal agencies, contractors which receive federal funding, organizations which receive federal grants, and education accreditation agencies. So anybody getting any federal money or anybody in the federal government, and remember, one of the reasons why the federal government is so diverse as a hiring group is because these practices said, no, you have to, like the federal government should look like, the hiring should look like the country, right?
Right, at least 13% people should get the jobs.
Right, but I
Black
mean,
people.
right.
I just want to point out we do not have quotas in the United
Correct.
States of America.
Oh, no.
Right.
What I basically said was you have to make sure everyone gets the opportunity to apply to these jobs.
Yes.
And it so happens when black people got the opportunity to be fairly judged for these jobs, they got it, number one.
Yes.
But number two, the downside of this is we know that there are medical situations where black women are dying in childbirth, where people are not getting the medical care that they need based on discrimination.
Absolutely.
And taking away these DEI positions also takes away the research and the investment to figure out why some communities are getting support and other communities are not.
Yes.
So it is just another way to allow more discrimination
Yes.
without being able to prove that black people are being harmed and left out.
It's also this thing around like, and it's weird, right? Because on the MAGA side, you have one hand, it's like, oh, if you complain about anything, like, oh, you're a snowflake. But then MAGA like loves to be victims. Like for whatever reason, it's like you love to make yourself somehow a victim, right? And so to them, this is like reverse racism or somehow, again, like a fair playing field.
Yeah.
Because again, you've never had a fair playing field if you're a white person. You always had these, the ability, particularly as a white man, you always had the ability to like, to get in line first. And so now when somebody comes along and says, oh no, we want everybody to have the ability to like have the same opportunity. Oh, you're discriminating against me. No, you know what I'm saying? It's not. But it is this thing now where all of a sudden, like, white men are being oppressed. Like, if we tell the truth about, like, your racism and your behavior and all these years of discriminatory practices. Why you
bringing up old shit? It's like the Chris Rock joke. It's like, if white people are losing, who the hell is winning?
1,000%.
We say that all the time on here. Like,
right.
I just don't get it. And then for these people to keep telling people that they hate woke ideology, they sure love telling people to wake up. So it's like, which one is it? Like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like, well, you can't have it both ways, man. But
yeah,
there's
so
a certain visual that comes to my mind when I think about white people calling it oppression when they can't oppress. It's like if you grew up in a black household where you were chastised with a belt. It's like when you grab the belt and your mom's like, "Oh, he's fighting back."
That actually, I'll tell you about that offline.
Gotta get worse now.
Yeah, that's real life in my shit.
Real whiplash.
Well, they had
no pun intended.
They had a conversation in Congress about this.
Okay.
And Jasmine Crockett, you know what I'm saying, who is a congressperson out of Texas, who came to our Black and Brown Men Summit, shout out to Jasmine Crockett, had this to say about white people that were feeling like they were being oppressed.
Oh, man. May God be with us for the rest of our lives. Oh, wait.
Allah is not pleased.
It's because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here. We not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen. So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like, and don't let it escape you that it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed, that y'all are the ones that are being harmed.
She sound like Sister Jasmine X from the
Come on. It's funny because I was like,
she went through the MGT training before she did that speech.
It's funny because I was like, I think somebody did drag Jay Leno out of his. Did you see Jay Leno? Somebody dragged that man out of his house and did something.
We don't know what happened.
But other than that, I can't think of any white men that was dragged out of their home. Just Google Jay Leno, bro. Jay Leno got fucked up. But anyway, I'm sorry. That was what I thought about.
John got his work cut out for him on this episode because we are wilding.
So any comments to again, like white men feeling like they're oppressed? I mean, what is this? I'm guessing, Miracle, this is the beginning of all of the dismantling of any safety net for any, not only person of color, but just any other persons.
Yeah, but then it's going to be stupid because then again, they're going to realize that even when they dismantle all the stuff, still we rise, and they're not going to have any type of justification to excuse their poor behavior. So here's the thing. I was talking to a Caucasian, and they were talking about how white people do not have community. I've been having a bunch of conversations, you know, and they were saying like a part of...
Is it because of the raisins?
But like... There are not
sun?
traditional white communities where people support each other outside of like family. So my friend was talking about like they do a lot of like volunteering like here in Pittsburgh, but when they go home, like their family does not volunteer. Their parents are not volunteering. Like there's not like a community where you engage, where you support and look out for each other.
Right.
And so
Isn't that what the neighborhood watch is? Like Crime Watch?
And so when white people fail, there's really no one there to support them except for the government. But if we take away all of these government supports,
right,
the people who are really going to be hurt are going to be white people, particularly rural white people,
right,
who don't have these extra support.
The ones who actually voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But that's why fentanyl is taking a lot of folks out. That's why the rural incarceration rates are rising. Those stories are not being told, so we're not really associating being poor, being addicted, being incarcerated with being white, but that is really the reality that we're facing. And so now we're seeing a lot of these people trying to attack the black community because they feel like the only reason we have community is because of these government supports and not because we're just a communal.
That is fascinating that like now, again, it's like once all this shit goes into place, right? Because let's say it does happen, right? And it's like, let's say you take all those federal guidelines away and there's no support for black communities, right? You take, you mass deport all of the migrants or immigrants, right? It does now. Okay, now white people, now it's on y'all.
Yeah, now you have to do all the labor.
Like
you have
now
to fix everything.
It's on y'all. Let's see what you're going to do. And then inevitably, if they don't do that,
they're still going to put the blame on
it's on y'all. I mean, I get right, but it's like, this is your president. This is your, I mean, I think it's like the whole, like, I think it was Walmart and the Walmart executive that came out and said, hey, all these prices about to go up.
Yeah.
Because when tariffs come into effect, all these prices are going to go up. And it's like, this is what you asked for.
Right.
So
you wanted all this American made stuff. You wanted everything to stop outsourcing. You wanted all of these things to be endemic to America. Watch how unaffordable your lives are going to be. If you're complaining now, just give it a year.
Well, when everybody loses their health care, like again, like you didn't realize that Obamacare and the health care that you have is the same thing. You didn't Google tariff. You didn't know what it meant, right?
Right.
So now you're like, oh shit. So it will be interesting. But Summer Lee also kind of broke down like, and again, like when people use this DI is coded language, like we know what you mean. You don't want to see black people. You feel like if a black person, as soon as a black person gets somewhere, oh, that's DI. Not that we earned it, not that we're qualified. Even
though we're even better.
Right. Even though, like when you grow up as a black person, you're told like you got to be twice as good.
To go half as far.
1,000%. So let's hear from our very own Congresswoman from PA, Summer Lee.
Not in favor of the Dismantle Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Act, or what it maybe would more aptly be called the dismantling any semblance of support or opportunity for certain American acts. We know who those Americans are. Americans who have not enjoyed centuries of unfair advantages by keeping others enslaved or segregated or disenfranchised or incarcerated or redlined or gerrymandered or excluded by law. Americans who've lived with disabilities or had their relationships criminalized or their gender expression demonized. If we're being honest here, this bill, which will wipe out every diversity, equity, and inclusion program in our federal agencies, plus those who contract with us, plus those who receive grant money, plus our schools, is nothing new. This is just the final piece of a decades-long obsession with targeting and dismantling anything that might give marginalized people a fair shot, including DEI programs, which honestly started the second the Civil Rights Act passed. Policies like affirmative action and diversity, equity, inclusion are the closest things we've had to the mythical bootstraps that some of my colleagues insist historically and currently harmed communities need to pick themselves up by. After centuries of efforts to keep us out of schools and universities, from jobs and elected office, Republicans targeting these policies are no accident. Why do predominantly conservative white men believe that the success of a black person or the opportunity or access of a black person is an existential threat to them? DEI is not given any unfair advantage that society itself does not already confer on certain Americans. It merely exists to ensure that all other people, that women, minoritized folks, queer folks, disabled folks, have the same opportunities to succeed and thrive in our workforce and our schools as people who have not had those opportunities systematically and legally stripped from them do. Is our country not greater when all of us have opportunities to succeed and contribute and survive. Our success and our survival as a nation is bound together. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs only exist to band-aid over decades, hell, centuries of discrimination against people's skin color, their religion, disabilities, gender, or sexual orientations, you name it. Contrary to Republican conjecture, remedying past discrimination is not, in turn, a discrimination.
Yes, we probably need a couple of bombs on that.
Facts.
Because, again, we couldn't have said it any better. She broke it down. You already know what it is. It's ironic that we started this show with these two clips of black women.
Right.
Because the conversation around politics and black women has been a different conversation. And it's really been the conversation of black women saying, you know what? We gonna go on vacation, and we gonna go on vacation again, and again, and again, and again.
Well, maybe you should have stopped us from going on vacation before.
But a picture went viral, and it was a picture of black women like sitting on a building overlooking a burning city, and the black women were just sipping their coffee. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of black women are saying now in this political climate that they are stepping back. Miracle, as
a lot of you black women are dumb, because why in the world would you even sit there and say that we know that we cannot sit back? We would love to be I don't care what's going to happen.
Yes.
Oh, it's your problem now. That is not even a reality for us as black people, because when these people come to kill us, we have to fight back. When they come to arrest our sons and daughters, we have to fight back. When they come to steal our property, we have to fight back. When they come to continue to poison our land, water, and air and food supply, we have to fight back. What black people are saying, they're not going to be doing extra.
Okay, got you.
It's not my ministry to go and talk to other people to explain to them why DEI is being used as a slur. It's not my labor to go explain to you why a white comedian calling a black man woke is a problem. Yes. Right? I'm not doing that extra labor. But am I going to fight for my community? Yes.
Okay.
Am I going to go and move about? Yes. But also, being an influencer and saying you're not going to make a video is not you moving away from fighting the system, right? We still have to feed our communities. We still have to do mutual aid, for our communities. We still have to go out and support. It's just that we maybe not be fighting as much for other communities.
And it might be because, remember, Kamala Harris was going to be the president of the United States, right? If she had won. And so it's this was, and a lot of us felt as this thing is falling, you trying to give it to a black woman to save America. And so I think the feeling was black women coming together, save America in a sense. Now it's you don't want us? Okay, well, handle your business. And I just want to share this quote. This is an article from the AP that says, feeling betrayed by increased minority support for Trump, black women say they're stepping back. It says, and she checked into a recent flight to Mexico for vacation.
Why are you? No, I'm tired of you.
Tasia Smith. No, this is Tasia Smith.
Do you see how he smiles?
Tasia Smith.
You see how he smiles? It's just the evilness.
You might have been sitting next to Tasia.
It's just he just be plotting. I just know he be in his bed, kicking his little feet, be like, "Oh, I got her. I got her."
Tasia Smith said this. She said, "It's like the people have spoken, and this is what America looks like. And there's not too much more fighting that you're going to be able to do without losing your own sanity." You were saying something, Trouble?
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of nod to the conversation we were having last week about white people's responsibility to dismantle racism.
Yes.
In this election that we just witnessed, patriarchy won.
Yes.
Patriarchy came out on top.
Yes.
So it's with black women saying they're taking a step back, I get it, because it's our job as men to dismantle patriarchy.
Correct.
In the same way that it's white people's job to dismantle racism and white supremacy culture. So it's I get the sentiment of not wanting to take that extra mile, especially because it's not their responsibility to fix a system that was set up against them. You know what I'm saying? It's as men who benefit from this system, it's time for us to take that extra step and us to take that extra mile.
Absolutely. Latasha Brown, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, said America's going to have to save herself. She said, I have no goals to be a martyr for a nation that cares nothing about me. So kind of like you said,
save her. She don't want.
She don't want to be saved, right?
But yeah, and I do think it's just the idea of like a lot of Black women did see like their success in Kamala becoming elected.
Yes,
and a lot of us like don't do that. Like, and so some people are taking this loss super hard and super personal, because they feel that it's like an indictment on their Blackness and their womanhood. And America is never going to validate your Blackness. I mean, America is never going to, validate the womanness of a Black woman. And so I am wrestling with how some people are responding to this loss. Especially it was a loss that we all knew was coming, right? We all had seen the polls.
Right.
And so I am kind of pushing back on this notion that because Kamala didn't win, that like somehow there's something wrong with being Black or being a Black woman.
Right, correct.
Right. We were always going to have to fight. And I know one of my friends was like, I just wish we could get to a place where we don't have to fight, where we could just exist and be and love and create. And so I get people saying, I'm just checking out. I get checking out of like organizing. I get checking out of doing like the policy work, but you can't check out and fighting for your people. You can't literally sit there and watch a city burn because the smoke inhalation is going to get to you, which is why that's you shouldn't support AI art. And like, AI is just like dumb. But I also feel like people are weaponizing Black women as a reason that when this all falls apart, to blame. Right? Because nobody's coming after white women. White women are right there voting for Trump at higher rates.
Yes.
White women were lock in step, and no one has been coming after them.
Miracle. They're wearing blue bracelets, and they're planning.
First of all,
they're planning another women's march.
Number one. But I'm saying, like, nobody has been coming after white women. We've been coming after Muslims. We've been coming after Black women.
True.
We've been coming after Black men. Nobody's been coming after these other populations of folks who literally are the reason why Trump is in office. So if you want to get mad at somebody, if you want to make somebody do the work, why are you not going after these white men and these white women? And that's some of the things that I get like really irate about, because Black women should not even be a part of the conversation. We did our work. We did our job. Like, why are we even, again, the main character in your story? Talk to these other folks who basically voted our country off a ledge and then wanted to be like, oops, can I go and change my vote, like a bunch of idiots?
Right.
So like, no.
It is fascinating that in the midst of like a DI conversation, that like Donald Trump is trying to put together one of the most unqualified cabinets of any president in history.
Anti-DEI.
And then it's not even a conversation, right? Because, right now, I think this is where we are, right? Matt Gaetz resigned, right? Matt Gaetz allegedly had not just one relationship with one 17-year-old, allegedly more 17-year-olds are coming out. It's fascinating because, like, they're like, oh, we don't.
Floodgates are open.
Right. But it's fascinating because Mike Johnson, who is the head of the Republican in Congress, or Speaker of the House, basically said, oh, we should investigate him. He's a private citizen. But, obviously want to investigate Hunter Biden, who's a private citizen, right? So it's like, which is it, right?
Yeah.
So now the question is, the defense secretary guy, Pete Hegseth, who, details came out about this.
He's the nigga with the germs, right?
He's the one that doesn't believe he can't see them. But it basically says like a police report detailing his alleged sexual assault came out. Where supposedly like this woman wasn't in a right state of mind, or he like locked the door, preventing her from leaving. Right. What
was his name from Good Morning America? Matt Lauer.
Something, basically, it was like the woman. The woman said the encounter was not consensual, even though he denies wrongdoing. He also nominated Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon,
Vince McMahon's wife. That's crazy.
Yes, but and this is for the Department of Education, a department that he said he was going to dismantle. So we don't even know how this is going to look. But she is
maybe he's tasking these people for being so terrible that they'll just implode on themselves.
I mean, I guess, but it says that she was in a lawsuit that says she knowingly enabled the sexual exploitation of children. So here you got somebody that is going to lead the Department of Education that is being sued for knowingly enabling the sexual exploitation of children. And then you have Tulsi Gabbard, who is supposed to lead the national intelligence, that was on a list as somebody that possibly was a agent of Russia and these other countries. And so they said not one pick has been popular. Are these people going to go through? Is this like some type of smokescreen?
The Republicans have to vote on these too, right?
Everybody has to vote.
Everybody has to vote.
Yes. So they have to be approved.
They're negotiating who they're going to vote up, who they're going to vote down.
Right.
But it has been a little bit wild because but maybe for the first time, our federal government is going to be beholden to foreign interest. And what is that going to mean for the world as we embark on World War III and a global war?
Yeah.
So
we're going to be like the USSR?
I don't know.
United States of the Soviet Republic?
I don't know. Who knows?
That's crazy to think about.
So
we're going to be Russian citizens now?
Well, again, I think that, I don't know if we're going to be Russian citizens, but obviously you have, again, in Tulsi Gabbard, you had somebody that supposedly was dealing with Russia, right? Allegedly, right? And you have
this
all
this
of
sound gossipy as shit.
Well, she was literally on a watch list. Like, she was put on a list of don't trust them, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. You're right. And so then you have like all of these other, you have, Marjorie Taylor, Tucker Carlson went over there and was like, basically using like Russian talking points. They said, Tulsi Gabbard used Russia. A lot of these Republican Congress people, they love Putin. You know what I'm saying? It's in a very weird way, including Donald Trump. And so when you see what's happening with the Ukraine, it was a clip where Lindsey Graham came out and basically was like, oh, the value of Ukraine is they have trillions of dollars worth of deposits, mineral deposits. Yeah. And that's the value. And Trump is going to negotiate with Putin for some of these. Who knows what's going to happen? I think that's where we are right now, right? We don't know if mass deportation is going to happen, how it's going to look, who's going to do it, right? Is it going to be day one, day two, right? Ironically, Trump's inauguration is on Martin Luther King.
Listen, that's going to be the start of season. Was it what year are we in America? 270 something.
Whatever year, yeah.
But the way that season is going to start with Donald Trump being sworn in,
we're close to 250 is in 26, so we're 248.
248.
If we get to 250, that's the question, man. And but the way Trump is,
Bismillah. Listen, if you listening, get the media ready. Get it ready.
Oh, they're ready. They're ready.
Get the floods ready.
They're ready.
Everything, man.
Didn't he call himself Martin Luther King at a point in time?
Yes. I think he said he was better than Martin Luther King. He had more people watching his
He had more people at his speech than Martin Luther King at the I Have a Dream speech.
Yes,
wow.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where we are right now.
Martin Luther Trump.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that shit either, but let him tell it.
Again, they're saying like he's not saying who's funding his transition. Again, it's so much that we don't know. But we do know that these are very, very questionable picks. Will they get pushed through? Will he be able to push them through? And what's going to happen next is on this season of America, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I guess as a part of that, as a side plot. One of America's biggest.
Please go where I think you're about to go with this.
Allies.
There we go.
Is Israel. And Benjamin Netanyahu was, a warrant was issued by the International Criminal Court. Is that what the ICC stands for?
International Criminal Court.
And basically saying that he was wanted for war crimes in the wake of what's happening in Gaza. I don't really know what that means. Does that mean anything? It doesn't
mean anything. Like, unless you're going to go Israel and drag him out by his feet and
you're not
dash him in the head,
it doesn't
matter. Like, okay, Canada said if he steps foot on Canadian soil, they're going to arrest him. The UK said this. Spain, Portugal said this. All these now NATO alliances are saying if Netanyahu steps foot on their soil, they're going to comply with the warrant issued by the ICC. But that doesn't mean anything because Netanyahu's not going to go travel there.
Right,
He has no self-interest in seeing himself locked up. So I don't care about this warrant. It's pomp and circumstance. Now, it'd be one thing if you say, okay, I'm starting an arms embargo or I'm going to cut resources to something like there's cut funding. But a piece of paper?
Yeah. And it said it was also, I guess there was another member of Netanyahu's cabinet, Gallant. Is that how you? Right.
No,
and then, but also the Hamas commander was also issued a warrant as well. So go ahead, Miracle.
The funniest thing, it's not really funny, about this is Lindsey Graham talking about we got to go to war with Canada and Britain and France.
Oh, what?
And any nation that
wait, hold up, what?
Yes. Yep. He basically was saying like any person that arrests Netanyahu, we have to end their economy, go after them. Whoa. Because if they can arrest Netanyahu, they can arrest all of
Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham, and everyone's like, finally. But yes, so it's this idea that people are really starting to see is that Israel is really this front to protect United States interests.
Right.
And if Israel gets in trouble, the United States is like
they're
there.
complicit, yeah.
Because they're complicit.
Correct.
And so now people are now really trying to like cover their butts because they feel like they could now go before these international courts if something happens.
Right.
And it's kind of funny because it's like they don't want to be stuck in the United States. They want to go vacation in Europe. They want to go get vacation in South and Latin America. They want to go to the retreats in Mexico, and now being told that, hey, you may be indicted for what you're doing. You may now get arrested.
Right.
Now they're like all upset. But it was like when you thought you just killed black and brown people all over the world and there were no consequences, you were all happy.
Yes.
And so now watching people try to react is going to be very interesting. But I think the ICC should do warrants not only for the Israeli leaders, but Obama and Clinton and the Bushes.
Damn, you had to go all the way back.
I think they should.
Yeah, I mean, it should definitely be retroactive and broad spectrum.
Because,
but do they have that? Do they have the ability to do it? And just for your record,
they're not a part of the ICC.
England did say that. It said that they said Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces arrest if he travels to the UK. It said they said that the government said it would fulfill its quote unquote legal obligations.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's a contract. You've opted into this contract. What the underlying issue was how this impacts white supremacy is everybody looked at the ICC, the International Criminal Court, and the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, as these international courts that were supposed to prosecute African leaders.
Yep, warlords.
This was a court, yes, we had all these international rules of law, but it wasn't for white leaders. It was for African leaders. It was for Middle Eastern leaders.
Yeah.
It was for leaders from South and Latin America. And now this is the first time, like outside of Putin, that like a Western leader is getting prosecuted, and now people are losing their minds. And that is how white supremacy also shows up in the international law spectrum, because all these colonizers created this international law framework not for freedom, not for equity, not for justice, but to continue continue their colonial rule over African leaders. And now we're in this, now everybody's equal under the law. Wait a minute.
Right. And
stop.
That last part of it, of everybody being equal under the law, it changes the viewpoint that you have, or the vantage point as a spectator of this political theater that's global, right? Because could you imagine, right, a SEAL team or a JSOC team or just a special operations team going into Israel and treating Netanyahu like Osama bin Laden? Right? You couldn't, right?
No.
You couldn't fathom that as a white person watching that, to have them both placed now on the same pedestal to be treated unilaterally.
And that's the biggest issue that people have with it, is that the fact that they are, like, you're putting Netanyahu and his defense minister, his former defense minister, on the same level as somebody from Hamas, and saying they're both guilty of war crimes, because that the biggest argument that people have is like, oh, well, Hamas started, this is not like their fault. But then again, that once, one of the crimes, for instance, against Netanyahu is starvation, right?
Yeah.
The fact that, like, okay, we're at a point now where you're not even allowing food to go through.
Yeah,
right?
and which is a breach of the Geneva Convention
and U.S. law.
Right.
Come on.
So, just for the record, and again, we got to be very careful because we've getting so many comments.
BBCs, big black comments
about allowing Miracle to speak.
Oh yeah.
Hey yo,
they hate us.
They like, don't y'all know whose show this is?
That's why when they posted up the picture, I was like, "Oh, look, it's Miracle and some fans."
So we got to be very, very careful. But Vladimir Putin is also.
Can y'all stop with the comments? Can y'all stop saying how much you love me and you like me? Please just stop.
We love you, Miracle.
This is a true story. We got stopped in fucking San Francisco, right? Minding our business, going shopping, trying to get pizza, for someone to stop us in the streets and say, "I love Miracle."
Oh yes, happens all the time.
You can't.
Right? Happens all the time.
You can't tell people.
Oh shit!
Here, right, that you love people here without also saying you love them here. Okay, so I was like, I love Miracle and I love y'all too. Like I love Miracle and y'all are so funny as well. You know,
bro. Listen,
it's got equal.
Hey.
Equal opportunity compliments.
Farouk turned all of our mics down.
Listen, I'm on.
Wait, here's the comment. Gentlemen, let Miracle speak! Exclamation point. Allow her to finish her point! Exclamation point. Without interjecting and overriding her with your point.
To be fair, we give Miracle all the airtime. That's the A mic right there. She gets everything.
She said, Jasiri, Farouk and Jasiri.
We got the presets all Miracle shit. Like
the light skinned niggas. Please give Miracle enough time to speak without interruption. You get your time.
Listen.
Allow her to finish her point. 5 exclamation points.
5 is crazy. Bro, I'm in the airport, right? I don't even remember where I was going, but I'm catching the tram, like the terminal or the subway thing to the other side of the airport, right? Mm-hmm. Guy stops me in the middle of the airport and it's like, "Yo, I watch this show." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Some good stuff. It's interesting." That Miracle? She's sharp.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting to be in the airport. Somebody comes up to me and says, "Like, oh yeah, I watch your show. Could you shut the fuck up? Please.
Don't do that.
Please."
Now, if you're gonna leave the comment, please do that. I would prefer people say shit like that to our faces and online.
Yeah, me too. So I'm trying to be. I've been careful. I've been careful today.
Talk your shit. Listen, you can speak.
I have another question.
I give you permission to speak.
I have another question for Miracle. Okay, so, but I did want to point out that Vladimir Putin has a warrant issue for him. But Senate Republican leader John Thune is urging the Senate to pass a bill, which has already passed the House of Representatives, under which the U.S. would impose sanctions on people engaged in any effort to investigate, arrest, detain, or prosecute any protected person of the United States and its allies. And this is where it gets funny, right? And I think you mentioned this on the last show about the possibility, Miracle, of Trump and his presidency kind of being like isolated on a world stage. It's like, do you respect international law or not? You know, Biden also called the warrant issued for Netanyahu outrageous. Miracle, what comments on that?
Here's the thing. We are talking about murder, violence, and all the things.
Yes.
We're also talking about sexual assault of minors.
Correct.
There's been reports about people being assaulted who are under the age of 18. So when we're talking about giving people protected class and stopping investigations, we're also talking about stopping the investigations of crimes against children. I think Merrick Garland should do some investigations and drop some warrants,
yes,
and arrest some of these senators for supporting human trafficking and child sex crimes. Because there is no way in the world you can draft legislation to say that you cannot investigate wrongdoing.
That's fascinating.
I don't understand. If someone is your ally, why can't you tell your ally, like, "Hey, friend, you can't do A, B, and C"? Like A, B, and C, you just can't do. We're gonna support you. We're gonna give you all the arms that you need, but you can't do this. That has been the problem. We can tell China, who is supposed to be one of our weird allies, to stop their human rights atrocities, talking about the weird genocide. But now you don't want other people to do the same thing. That doesn't make sense to me. I understand saying that this is our ally, we're going to support our ally, but then to be like, you can't stop investigation into wrongdoing when you're not going to stop the wrongdoing, that to me seems like conspiracy. And I think Merrick Garland should really be like, listen, you can't do that. And if you vote for that, you are now complicit, and you are now RICO. I want Merrick Garland to treat the U.S. Senate like it's the 90s and they are law, and I want them just to run through with RICO and human trafficking, because this is very insidious.
Right.
Especially when you're not saying this thing you can't do.
Right. I think, but he's not going to, because again, like, but also this is an issue, like you said, like, and we talked about this last week around like this is the one issue that there's probably not a lot of difference on, right? Between the Biden administration and the Trump administration was like this unilateral support of Israel. And the thing is, like, according to what we were hearing behind the scenes, Biden was supposedly trying to say to Israel, like, allow more food in, allow more aid in. Like, this is what we were hearing, right? That they were pushing for a ceasefire, but what we kept seeing is more weapons, more money being sent to Israel. So we haven't seen a stoppage of any type of support. And now with this, again, it's like, Biden came out and said outrageous. Now the United States creates this law to say, like, we're going to put sanctions. Like, again, it's like, okay, if I want to have this international court and support what they say, now I'm getting sanctions only if this is our friend. And this is where, again, like you said, it gets weird, right? Like, my friend can do it. My friend can whoop your ass, but if somebody else, he's going to jail. But this is how the law has always worked in the United States. Those in privileged positions that had friends like a Donald Trump, whose now his case has been suspended indefinitely by the court in New York. So Donald Trump won't be getting although he was found guilty of 34 felonies, there will not be any sentencing for Donald Trump. So again, it's like, it's this tiered system of the justice works for rich white people differently than poor black people. We currently live in a county, I think Allegheny County is 13% black, but we make up 85% of the jail.
Right.
So we know why that happens. We know that white supremacy and racism is the reason why. So it's operating on a higher level. Speaking of white supremacy and racism.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody found Elon Musk's dad. I guess it's Errol Musk. And he talked about why they ended up moving to South Africa. And it's probably, what you're thinking right now is exactly the reason. Did you want to play that clip, sir?
This is quite interesting. Her parents came to South Africa from Canada because they sympathized with the Afrikaner government. They used to support Hitler and all that sort of stuff. But they didn't know, obviously, I don't think they knew what the Nazis were doing. But they in Canada, they were in the German party in Canada, and they sympathized with the Germans.
Yeah.
So when the Afrikaners government came into power here in 1948, then May's father, who was quite an interesting guy, he was a very good pilot, he said he wants to be with the Afrikaners because he agrees with apartheid, you see. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And he came out here with his family.
Imagine being so racist
that you want to go to a place where you can be even more racist than the world allows.
You're like, hey,
I want to take racism to a new level. How can I do that? I have an idea. I want to go Africa where there are black people and oppress them. I don't want to bring Africans to me. I want to go to them.
But
and oppress them.
It's that thing somebody said. This is a user on X, CFC Jr. Do you understand how batshit crazy and racist you have to be to pack up your whole livelihood and move to Africa for the sole reason to oppress black people?
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Apartheid Clyde strikes again.
Apartheid Clyde.
But it's also this idea of like, okay, so now you understand why the black employees of Tesla were treated a certain way, why they were called racial slurs.
Yes.
This idea of like not making your work environment comfortable for black and brown folks. This idea where you talk about you want to colonize places so they can get the minerals so you can make whatever Tesla, parts are going to fall down and fall apart later. It just is like, this is what you were inherently taught and believed. Like, your grandparents are part of, the Nazi regime.
Yes.
In Canada.
Yes.
Your mother's over here telling people to commit election fraud.
Yeah. It explains why his mom is so crazy.
Yes.
Like these were her parents.
I wonder if they were cool with Slavery Avery.
Probably.
Slavery
Probably.
But again, I think it is wild that like you're a part of the Nazi party, the Nazis lose, and then you're looking like, damn, this was our shot to have this place where like this, white people could do whatever they want and oppress anybody that wasn't white and a person of color. Is there any place else on the map where this is happening? Oh shit. In South Africa, they have a whole apartheid government where they're oppressing black people. Let's go there.
Let's give them some support.
Let's move there and back them.
It's so fascinating to study what happened to the Nazis after World War II, because they all went to black and brown countries. Like none of them fled to like white islands and white neighborhoods. They all just went to like South Africa and like Venezuela and like Brazil and like all these other. It's like, why would you not just stay in like a white area? Go to Australia. Like why? Well, I mean, Australia, there was indigenous people there, but it was like predominantly like white, like settler country. Like why not go there? It's never made sense to me.
Well, again,
and that's also why now there are so many people of Hispanic and Latin origin that are actual Nazis because their parents and grandparents were it's like it is mind blowing.
There's a whole area, there's a whole settlement in Brazil, that America Town, that has all these people that were from the Confederacy that fled Brazil after the Civil War.
To Brazil.
Yeah, and they fled there, and they have this blonde hair, blue eyes establishment that are people that still uphold relics of the Confederacy, and they have a day every year where they reenact the Civil War, and this is in South America.
Wow! I always remember how Cat Stacks is the person who taught us that Hispanic people were white.
Cat
we saw.
I'm upset. You just made me remember who she was. She was completely removed from my mind.
I mean, it's just like, why? And everyone was like, why in the world does her passport say she's white? Yeah. And then we had to like, oh, did you know? Like, it's just, to me, it's always just like mind blown. Like when you think about it, because I had friends who were,
what's she doing now?
And I was like, why do y'all have European citizenship? Like, I don't understand how you have dual citizenship. It's like,
for our audience 60 and up, there's no reason for you to Google Cat Stacks. Do
yourself the favor and just don't.
You don't need to understand this reference.
Just take our word for it.
But to your point, Miracle, I think it is because inherently they know that if the country is a black or brown country, that they will be dealt with fairly and justly, because that's our history. Like our history as black and brown people is we're going to allow you to come and we're going to allow you to kind of do your own thing, right? We're not going to just persecute you because of your skin color, right? We're not going to attack you because of your skin color. As we come up on the Thanksgiving holiday that most people don't celebrate and begin to break that down, right? You had a situation where white people came here and they were in need. And the indigenous community helped those white people who then turned around and did their best to try to eliminate the indigenous people, in mass murder and all. If you read the book, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, you can get the history of some of the history of what happened to the indigenous people in this country, right? And so I think it is that inherently understanding that because it's black and brown people, we don't operate a lot of times, well, in these systems, right? We operate from a position of treating you equitably, regardless of what your skin color looks like, because we know what it feels like to be discriminated against or attacked just because of our skin color. So we don't turn around and give off what we have gotten. And so I think that's why they know they can go down there and be left alone and can do whatever racist thing that they want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's different though to say, where is racism its most prevalent? You know, when you're searching for a vacation. Yeah. Yo,
they want the all-inclusive racism buffet. It's like, where can I get everything?
No, they want the all-exclusive.
Shit. The all-exclusive. Yeah, so it is fascinating. But again, gives you insight to Elon Musk, who is going to be over some created program that's supposed to cut all of these programs for federal government. Again, it's going to be fascinating when this stuff starts to happen and to see how it affects these predominantly these poor white people that voted for this, that are like laughing and thinking like, oh, we finally got our comeuppance. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Well, our white pages today is called Black Women Taught Us, and you got to get this book now because they're not going to teach you no more.
They're on hiatus for the next 4 years.
This is the last book.
A well-earned hiatus for the next 4 years.
So Black Women Taught Us, An Intimate History of Black Feminism by Jen M. Jackson, PhD, is our white pages of today. Jen M. Jackson is a beautiful writer and excellent scholar. In this book, they pay tribute to generations of Black women organizers and set forward a bold and courageous blueprint for our collective liberation. That was Imani Perry's comment on this book, Black Women Taught Us. Any other things coming up? You all have plans? No plans over this little break that we get? Black Friday, is anybody doing anything for Black Friday?
Playing PlayStation.
Okay. Oh,
just be black.
Just be black. Being black on Black Friday. I'm not going to ask you, Miracle. We don't want your legions of fans to find out where you are. But if for Black Friday,
I'm domestic for Black Friday also.
Hey, I will say this: Black Friday. Hey, for folks that are, and shout out to the people that have been purchasing our merchandise. We have new drops coming. We have 2 new colorways. One Hood colorways that will be dropping. They will be on the website. So if you go to onehood.org and you go under merchandise, you can pick yourself for Black Friday. Why not support a black business? Get some merchandise from One Hood. Yes.
For those of you who say you support black business,
yes,
instead of looking for Black Friday deals,
yes,
look for black entrepreneurs, businesses, and organizations that you can support for Black Friday.
Absolutely. And one of those is the onehood.org. We're also going to do a special episode of Blackmail, where we're going to do a whole show dedicated to the mail we have received from people that watch our show This Week in White Supremacy. So if you have a comment or something that you want to send us, go to info@onehood.org. That's info@ the number 1, not O-N-E, the number 1, hood.org, and send us your blackmail. We're going to read it. We're going to comment on it. We know 90% of it will be in support of Miracle. We know that.
And if you're mean to me, I'm just going to ignore it and move on.
So with that being said, final comments. Miracle, do you feel like you were able to speak without being interrupted this episode? Did we do our job?
I hope y'all spend the next week fighting for love, peace, kindness, hanging out with your family and friends, and just moving into 2025 with intention.
That's a great one. Trouble, final comments?
Never lose sight.
Farouk.
All toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads.
The last comment, this came from X. If y'all niggas at One Hood don't stop interrupting Miracle when she's cooking, I'm gonna jump through this here phone and snatch all y'all mics.
Suck my dick.
With that being said, this week of White Supremacy, peace, y'all.
My
One Hood.
Be nice.